how these past 2 years being in that mayor position have been for you.
Sure. Well, I have loved it. I really am passionate about Lompoc. It is a community I chose, and I see so much potential here. But in the past 2 years, it's been difficult to see some of that come to fruition, not for myself, but for the community. And that's why I still want to be mayor. I still have goals for this community that so many supported when they elected me in 2018 that I want to continue working on in 2020. Change isn't easy. Change doesn't happen quickly. And so I really am looking forward to the opportunity to continuing that and potentially having a new council that has similar vision about what can be accomplished here, that does see the value of our community, its uniqueness, and how do we capitalize on that for those that already live here and improve their quality of life, reduce the gang activities, improve opportunities for at-risk kids, open the doors for better education. All of those things lead to a more positive experience in the town you live in. And Lompoc has all of those options available to them. We just need to invest in those things. We need to invest in the parks, the city parks, and make sure they feel safe to get out and play in, that they're mowed on a regular basis, that they are free of gopher holes, that the parks equipment is safe for kids to play on. We need to make sure we're well lit and that our police department is staffed at the appropriate level, but also not burdened with things that a police department shouldn't be doing in the modern era. The police department shouldn't be responding and responsible for every mental health issue. They shouldn't have to be the ones responsible for every homeless issue. They shouldn't be code enforcement. We really should be working on a stronger community relationship with the police department so that the connections there with our at-risk youth, to know that we're there to protect them and keep them from gang activities rather than drive them to it. So there's a lot of things that have happened in a short time. It's been a very unusual 2 years for not just Lompoc, but for California and for the world. And so I don't shy away from the struggles that we have had and the difficulties that we're experiencing. And I am not afraid to continue trying to solve those problems and improve the quality of life here for everyone. We're an example of what's going on at the national level. Our community is a mixture of working class individuals who are essential workers, who have still been working, whether it's the grocery store employee, or it's the ag worker out in the farms picking the food and vegetables we buy at the grocery store, or it's a town of full service employees, and every single one of them being an essential worker besides the public safety. And a lot of the individuals that work at the county level and at the school district live in our community because of its reasonable cost of living. So they've still been out there and they've still been exposed and put at higher risk. At the same time, we have a community that is being impacted by the loss of jobs because of the heavy tourism base out of South County, and many of those workers living up here and losing their jobs at the restaurants or the tasting rooms or the hotels. And so we need to find a way to be supportive and streamline how we support those businesses that are trying to stay open or want to reopen, or maybe those individuals that have an idea and want to start their own business. So we need to make sure that the city isn't creating barriers for that to happen. The other thing we really need to do is invest again in things like our park and our public safety, because they're the areas we go to right now, right? If it's okay to be outside, but I don't have enough park and recreation staff in order to reopen everything, because we don't have the kind of staff to clean the slides every day. And respectfully, I do understand that they're in the sun and kids don't get this as easily, but they still do get it. And you still do need to clean the playground equipment so that you aren't the center of transmittal or a super spreader event. And so there's some limitations due to our limited budget that we aren't able to accomplish. And so I think finding ways to partner with other nonprofit groups, with local faith-based community organizations and the unions that are coming out in support of the elections to really find ways that we can volunteer and show we ourselves can improve our community, and it takes all of us, and we're all willing to do it.
What is your favorite thing about Lompoc?
Well, I have to say that you were standing outside by the flower fields, and that's one of the things that I love about this community is right now California is struggling with all of the air quality issues with the fires. And yes, we had a few days of that, but we live on a very special place of the Central Coast, right along the ocean, still in a rural community that is still, centric. And so we have this morning lovely weather, flowers in bloom, a breeze blowing out any of potential smog, and yet you can get out this morning and go for a walk. You can enjoy your coffee on the front porch, and I think for me it's the best of both worlds. I get a city that is full service and has good rates and equitable housing, but at the same time I get to feel like I'm living in the country. And so it makes Lompoc really special to me. It's my adopted home. I'm originally from Texas, and Lompoc's really made me feel a part of California, and I'm very proud to represent it.
What do you think sets you apart from your opponent?
I think it's the fact that I chose Lompoc. My opponent is campaigning on the fact that he's born and raised here and that he knows Lompoc and knows what's best for it. And I think what I bring to the table is I chose Lompoc. I want to be in this community. I want to see us reach the potential that we've talked about for so long. I honor its history. I honor those that are born and raised here as contributing to the community, but I know that the diversity brought to us by new residents, whether they're from the federal prison employment or they're here for a while from the Lompoc Air Force Base and decide to stay because they've realized what a wonderful community is because they've lived somewhere else, is really what makes our community really diverse. And I think I represent that diversity and want to continue to bring everyone to the table, and that's been my goal the entire time I've been on council. But it's a constant invitation, and it needs to be done often and regularly, and it's hard to do when our council chambers are closed because of COVID, but I think there are still ways to engage and invite and make sure everyone realizes this is your city. You have a direct influence, not just in the vote, but in your voice. Use it, show up, be strong, advocate for what you want, and people will follow you when you fight for what you believe in.
How confident are you that you are going to get reelected?
You know, I never want to assume anything, and so I am working just as hard as I did in 2016 to get elected to council and in 2018 to become mayor. And so I won't make any predictions because, again, this is in the hands of the voters, and all I ask them to do is to research your candidates, look at what we have been able to accomplish based on, it's a council of 5. I have no more power as mayor than any other position on council, and without a council majority, it's been difficult to move some of the concepts and ideas forward that I'd like to see implemented here. And so if the vision I have for the community and for Lompoc is similar, and you think that I am voicing what you would like to see happen in our community, then please vote. If I'm not, that is absolutely what we should be doing, is vote our conscience, vote our support for what we believe in, and that's all I ask, is that my community get out and vote, do their homework, and really get behind whoever is elected to show Lompoc is reaching its potential, not looking at what it might be.
Is there anything else that I didn't ask you that you feel is important to mention?
I just think it's important, especially in 2020, that we all look at local issues and look at this not from a partisan position. These are all nonpartisan positions. It's about local issues, and allowing national politics to determine who sits on the dais locally is a danger to the honor code that is nonpartisan politics, focusing on local issues. And I hope that our community understands that and really appreciates that we can have a very diverse conversation with opposing ideas and work together to come up with solutions that are best for our community that aren't influenced by national partisanship.